It's about to be silly season. 2025 is around the corner, and that means new driver releases. But hold the phone right there, because I actually think the driver I'm going to talk about right now has so many key features that'll be still great for 2025, that'll help slicers, give you consistency, give great ball speed. And we all know, right? As soon as 2025 comes, the price of the 2024 drivers literally drops like a stone. Like, I would say maybe like a third off. And on that point, does anybody do that? Does anybody wait until the new ones come out and then go and get fitted for the old stuff, or then just go and purchase the stuff from 2024 or the previous year? Because I think that's a little bit of a loophole that maybe we all should use if we don't want to spend full amount. Now, the drivers that were great in 2024, and forgive me if I missed any here, let me know which one you preferred and which one you actually gamed if you did upgrade this year. We had the Wilson, big driver. Like, I really was a fan of that. Tour Exotics, and that will be current for next year too. Callaway AI Smoke, Taylormade QI10, the Cobra drivers, the Ping drivers, and the Titleist GT range. Now, the Titleist drivers and the Tour Exotics will be carried on for 2025, so bear that in mind when I give you this opinion. Okay, so what do we want from a driver? We want good clubhead speed. We want it to be forgiving, so essentially hit fairways. If we slice it, we want to help us reduce our slice. And we want to be able to hit it a decent distance, right? So over the last year, I have used this driver a lot. Actually, up until getting fitted for my GT. So the driver I'm talking about right here is the Taylormade QI10 driver. Yes, you heard me right. I think this could still steal the show next year. Because, like I say, there'll be so many models still out there that golfers can buy, and now they're gonna be cheaper. Because you won't realize this and some of the features if you don't use it a lot. So let me start with the first feature. And this is massive for a driver. The looks. How it looks down at a dress. The shape, how it sits, even down to the colorway. I loved how you had the glossy crown with that blue, dark blue face. That you couldn't really tell it was blue, to be fair, when you do put it down. It was sort of a blacky colour with the grey line on top. That overall look and finish looked premium. It really did. And for Taylormade, compared to some of the other models who went down the matte route, for example, the Callaway, Tour Exotics, I know Titleist had a glossy look. But what I'm saying here is, Titleist is known as like a classy brand, right? Taylormade brought that glossy look to the QI10. And the whole story about it being forgiving without compromising distance, I really could get on board with. Like, what else do you want from a driver? So the first reason why I'm saying this driver is still going to kill it in 2025 is, one, firstly, because of the looks. Now, at any point, like, let me know down below in the comments if there's anything that you want to add to this. You think a completely different driver would still be good. But honestly, this is a key one for me. The next point is the forgiveness, right? Now, we know last year, Taylormade brought out a max model, Cobra brought out a max model, Callaway brought out a max model, Ping even brought out a max model. Who even knew that Ping could get even more forgiving than they already were? My point being is that some of the max models, and we'll take the Taylormade because it's its counterpart here, I would say looked a bit big, it looked a bit cumbersome, and it had that sort of lip underneath. And being honest, when you put it down at the ball, I thought one word. Is it two words? Frying pan. Yeah, 2 words. Frying pan. Like, it just looked a little bit ugly. As much as it offered more forgiveness, apparently, it looked ugly. Whereas the QI10, the one that sits in the middle of the range, it looked big, it looked forgiving, it looked inviting, and when you didn't find the middle, like, I tend to see, yes, it went a little bit shorter, which you would expect, to be fair, but it seemed to find the fairway more than it didn't. So, in terms of looks and forgiveness, they're my first 2 points. And I say this, what else in 2025 can beat that? What else can beat that? I think, honestly, the big brands, for example, Taylormade, Callaway, are going to struggle to beat their 2024 models because forgiveness without compromising distance. How do we beat that? Now, this next point is mad because in the past, the Stealth and the Stealth 2, I was very, very big to criticize it. Hear me out. I thought the Stealth felt soft off the face, and I saw so many people crack them, right? Stealth 2, I also felt it was soft. And I hate the feeling of a soft driver. Also, the red, it looked a little bit, wasn't a fan of it. Whereas the face in the QI10, it felt firmer, it's still carbon, and it still has that twist face technology, which, by all accounts, is one of the reasons why the driver has a lot of forgiveness. Just going back to twist face and forgiveness, I had done countless testing over the whole season, whether it's purposely or not, of hitting it out the heel and out the toe. And on 80 to 85% of the shots that I hit, found the fairway. I repeat again, what else do you want from a driver? Like, what else could a 2025 driver give that this driver is not? Now, after those first 3 points, has this got you thinking? Are you now thinking, okay, like, maybe, Alex, I need to sort of hang fire going down the new route. Maybe I need to wait and maybe pick up this driver next year. Like, I'm not saying don't go down the new route. You might like some of the new drivers and what they offer. All I'm saying is right now, the big brands have got a lot to deal with to beat this one. So point number 4 on my list, and this is, I feel this driver, like, would suit so many golfers, right? Because you can make it more upright. So if you are someone who slices the golf ball, you've got that sleeve adjustability to make it a little more upright, help the golfer launch it a little more to the left, and help that face closure a little bit down at address. Now, for a right-handed golfer, that is going to be very, very good. Seeing that face sit a little more upright, a little more to the left, it might look a little more inviting. Whereas on the other hand, my testing with low handicap golfers, they still got on board with this driver. They didn't spin it too much. They didn't feel it was ugly down at address. They didn't feel they could hit it left. It offered some adjustability through the loft sleeve. And testing from high handicaps to low handicaps, I found that so many of my students could fit into this driver. Like, they weren't pigeonholed into, okay, you're a faster swing speed, right? You need to go LS, like, then you're going to sacrifice a little bit of forgiveness. No. It worked for them. But vice versa, at the opposite end of the spectrum, it also worked as a more forgiving option for somebody that I would guess was a little more new to the game. Did anybody else find that? I would love to hear some stories down below in the comments. If you can agree with this, if you don't agree with this, by all accounts, like, I'm dealing with this after a year of using it myself and after seeing so many of my students move into this driver. And I actually feel that so many of the people, I've actually got one story where some people went for the max model, a higher handicap, didn't like the max model, went into the QI10, the middle of the range, and boom, it was an absolute beast. Now, this is my final point. The 5th and final point right here. And I guess this is probably quite selfishly down to, like, sort of why I really love this driver. Control of ball flight. What I mean by this is I'm very much, if you watch my coaching channel, I have 3 different tee heights. I have my low tee height where I'm like, okay, I need to hit this fairway with a 75% swing. I also use this one into wind. It gave me the ability to hit that shot. A slightly lower launching, softer, shorter drive. Like, seriously tight hole, use that drive. That was my mentality. And this is what I demand from a driver. I then have my second tee height, which is where I have a quarter of the ball sat above the club face. And I would say I use this drive probably 90% of the time. And that would be my 90% swing. I then have my final tee height, which is where I have half a ball above the face. And this is like my 110%, all out, give it plenty. And it was still good in that aspect. Now, granted, it wasn't as accurate when I'm giving it full beans as it was in my middle range tee height and my low tee height. But my point to this, and my 5th and final point, is it gave me the ability to control my ball flight. What I tend to find with some models and some drivers, when you're going more forgiving, let's say away from an LS model, a lower spinning model, you lose that ability to control your ball flight. But then you sacrifice distance. I didn't. I got everything. So I got the forgiveness of that middle of the range model. I also got the distance, what I used to see in an LS low spinning model. But then in that middle of the range model, I still got the ability to control the ball flight I often only got in the low spin models. So this, again, I repeat this is for me why it's going to be a big player and a driver from 2024 to buy in 2025. Now, that is my opinion on the Taylormade QI10. Not the Max, not the low spinning version, the one that sits slap bang in the middle. It's one I think you should keep your eye on going into the new year.